this is going to work out okay. All right, let's have this, do this. There we go. Perfect. Nice. Alrighty. Hello. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing rather well for this nice Monday. Okay. Good to see everybody. Okay. Alright, we're gonna be my weekend was pretty good. So no, that my weekend was pretty good. How about yours, my friend? Hi, Evan. How are you doing? Hi, Mikhail. Are you doing well? My weekend was no, not very exciting, but I got a chance to relax. Enjoyed the outdoors. That's good. That's good. Got a chance to walk around. I hope just enjoying the nice fresh air until winter comes, of course. But hopefully that won't be around. Hopefully that won't come for a little bit. All good so far. Excellent. 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 Another week. Another week. Another dollar. Another week of fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Right now we have gone through. Now, if you're in the 8-week class, you should be going through up to section 2.3. If you're in the 16-week class, you probably are in like chapter 2, like the beginning of chapter 2. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Okay, then you're definitely keeping up to date without too much trouble. Honestly, this pace of the class here, I know it goes fast for 8 weeks and stuff, but at the same time, it's not too hard to manage. At least I don't feel that to be the case. But again, it varies from person to person, so I don't feel it's too tough. But you know, that's why I'm trying to tell people, hey, just get on top of it, so you're not like trying to do it all at once. Trying to be the master procrastinator. Okay. All right. We'll have a few more people start coming trickling in here. No problemo. Alrighty. Okay. All right. About a minute past. That's fine. I'll have a few more people come in, and hopefully they'll be listening in. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with today. Welcome back to Monday. All right. Hopefully you have a nice weekend. All right. So today, let's talk about what we did last time. Last time we did the first 3 sections of chapter 2, talking about the basics of fractions, talk about multiplying and dividing fractions, and of course looking at naturally at applications about fractions. So we should be good to go in terms of at least some of the basics here about fractions. Hello, Gustavo. Um, so yeah, today we're going to be going over the last part of section of chapter 2, which is adding and subtracting of fractions, which I felt that needed more time to go over, as it is tends to be a very tough subject for some people, especially when you're trying to do mental math with it. It can be very overwhelming. So, uh, just you know, something like that. So, yeah, should be okay. So, we're going to go over applications, of course, and the basics behind adding and subtracting, and then we'll get on to chapter 3 here today, talking about decimals. Now, I want to give a reminder to everybody here today, by the way. Reminder for you guys is that next Monday, which is the 7th, I believe, just make sure. Yeah. Okay, so next Monday, the 7th, there will be no class. Okay, so again, no class on September 7th, next Monday, due to Labor Day. All right, so there will be no class on that day. I think we'll be missing like a couple of classes, one for Labor Day, obviously, as you know, and probably for Thanksgiving holiday. We'll probably just be missing one class there too, probably that Wednesday. So I don't expect us to miss any more classes outside of that. But again, those are the two kind of already set on the schedule. All right. So before we get started here, totally, does anybody have any questions from last time? Again, you can type no in the chat, or again, if you do have a question, please feel free to type out your question. That there. Okay. So it looks like everybody is okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and move on here for today. All right. So like I said, today we're talking about adding and subtracting of fractions. We're going to be looking at, of course, just regular fractions, and of course with mixed numbers at yet. Okay. Um, didn't know we are going to Russian. I was learning Russian today, but yeah, we're going to go with that. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look here at section 2.4 and talk about how to add and subtract fractions. So do that right now. Okay, so adding and subtracting fractions by itself is not too bad. But let's talk about and see, let's make this, oh, oops, I meant to make this a little bit bigger. So let's go to type 18 here. Okay. All right. So first of all, let's talk about how we can add and subtract fractions, and let's talk about some of the keys here. All right. So what's the key to adding and subtracting fractions that we're going to see quite often? Now, you probably are familiar with adding and subtracting fractions, but one of the toughest parts is really, just doing it consistently. And that's kind of like what I want to do here today is just like why I want to spend extra time and be like, all right, let's talk about how to get it consistently right, because sometimes it's just a lot of numbers kind of floating around. And you're like, well, I don't know how to kind of put these two together. And that's fair. All right. So the key here is to put all fractions with the same denominator. Now, one of the things here that I'll go ahead and zoom this out here a bit so it's a little easier to see. There we go. So put all the fractions with the same denominator, okay? Meaning to say, again, that's basically saying same context, okay? The context being the same denominator. Now, obviously, we know that as the common denominator, okay? But we need to describe what the common denominator is in terms of how it works. And we're going to go through it step by step, okay, very carefully, and we'll see exactly how we can manage that without too much trouble. Okay. And this will be kind of like one of those things that will we'll discuss when it comes to algebraic expressions, whether that be using a formula at work or whatnot. We're still going to be looking at that carefully, so we can, kind of drill into our heads and be like, hey, this is what we got to think about here. Okay, now let's talk about, let's see here. Let's do an example. Sorry. Let's do an example here. Okay. So let's do 2/5 plus, let's go with 5/6. Okay. So let's go with 2/5 plus 5/6. All right. So we're just going to add these two together. Now, notice that they are different denominators. Okay, 2/5 plus 5/6. That's all nice and good. All right, but again, the key here is to put all the fractions with the same denominator. Okay, so let's talk about how we can actually get them into having the same denominator. So I'll put in the key 2 here. Find the common denominator. Now, what is the common denominator? So what's the definition of common denominator? Now, what you'll see me here put often is I don't want to keep writing common denominator, so I'm just going to go ahead and put CD here as a way to just kind of shorten that up, so I don't have to like keep reading that like repetitively a bazillion times because sadness. All right, so what is the common denominator here? So the common denominator is the um, the smallest multiple. The smallest multiple that is in common between all the denominators. Now, oftentimes you may hear this as the least common multiple, okay? And I find that to be rather confusing. So I'm going to make a really big important note here because, well, actually, let's answer this question here really quick before we answer this example. Okay, if I had, say, let's say I was trying to add here 1/2 plus, let's go with 3/4, okay? So if I had a half plus 3/4 here, can anybody tell me really quick, what's the common denominator between 1/2 and 3/4? Okay, see some 4s. Okay, so kind of like thinking, is it 2 or 4? Not sure. Okay, that's fine. All right, see a couple more 4s there. Okay, all right. So the answer to this here is, if I'm trying to find a common denominator here. Now, I like what you wrote there, Techno, because it's like, how do I know if it's 2 or 4? How can I make that distinction? That's the point of contention a lot of people have with just adding, subtracting fractions. It's just like, is it 2 or 4? I know that 2 goes into 4, so it has to be 2. And unfortunately, that's not here the case. The answer here is going to be 4 is the common denominator. So you're like, well, how do you know that? How do you know it's going to be 2? Let's take a look at the definition here, and then I'm going to add my note to this, and then it'll be very clear that 4 has to be the case. So it says here, so the common denominator here, just to read this off once again, is the smallest multiple that is in common between all denominators. Now, to paraphrase that into something a little bit easier to understand, so that way the amount of confusion is reduced, is that the common denominator is always going to be the largest denominator or bigger. This is always true. So you should always start with the largest number you see in the denominator and then keep choosing multiples of that denominator and working your way up. That's basically how you want to find the common denominator here. All right, so this basically, if I'm looking back here at a half plus 3/4, whatever that is, all right, I'm going to start here at 4 and then work my way up. If 2 goes into 4, which it does, obviously, then my common denominator is 4. If this number here that was, say, 3 instead, like 1/3, all right, then I would try 8. Well, 3 doesn't go into 8. Well, how about 12? And then we say, oh, yeah, 3 goes into 12, so my common denominator would be 12. Okay, so that's one thing I kind of want to stress here is like, how do we take the guesswork out? Well, this note here that you see is probably the biggest key here into actually understanding how we can work with the common denominator here in pretty much every example for this stuff going on here. Now, um, so let me go back here for just a second. So if I look at this, 2/5 plus 5/6, what's the common denominator between 2/5 and 5/6? What's that common denominator there? Okay. Yeah, that's right. 30. Spot on, everybody. All right. So 30 is correct. Now, if you didn't see 30 there, that's okay. All right. You try 6 and you say, all right, does 5 go into 6 because we're trying the largest number? We say no. Okay, 6 is out. Try 12. Okay, that's the next multiple up. We say, all right, does 5 go into 12? No. Okay, that's out. 18. 5 doesn't go into 18, so that's out. 24, close but no cigar. All right, and then finally we get to 30, and we say, yeah. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Glad you could make it. Okay, so let's talk about what happens next. You know, what do we do next here in this situation? So we find this common denominator. That's great. Okay, but of course, we need to put it in the same context, right? Because that's the big key here. We need to put all fractions with the same denominator. So I want this 5 to suddenly magically be 30, and the 6 to magically be 30. Oh, that's okay, Tracy. That's why I put up the, that's why I put up the videos on YouTube, or you can watch the replays here on Twitch. Just in case if life happens. It's not a problem. I hope you're feeling better, though. Totally understand. It's allergy season, too. I've had a bit of bout with allergies past couple weeks. All right, so I want to make this 30, this 5 be 30, and I want to make this 6 30 here. So let's go with this first. So I want to make this 5 30. So what should I do? How do I make this 5 magically turn into 30? How can I change 5 into 30? All right. Okay. Very good. Multiply by 6. I completely agree. Everybody's got it right. So that's what it is. Okay, perfect. Now I want to talk about this here for just a second. If you've ever had trouble with algebra at any moment in time, okay? If you've ever had trouble with algebra at any moment in time, this little factoid is going to be very important to you, okay? If we talk about the key to algebra and to pretty much everything in math in general, for the most part, not every concept, but the key to algebra is very simple. It comes down to one word, and that is the word balance. Everything must be balanced, okay? So what we need to do is, so the key step here is to go ahead and find and basically multiply both the top and bottom, again the numerator and denominator, by the same number. So the denominator matches the common denominator. Okay, so all of you are correct on this. Okay, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and just put that in little parentheses here. So if I multiply on the bottom, I got to do the same on the top. Okay, so there's you know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If I'm basically at the end of the day, I'm playing like a zero sum game. I'm be like, all right, I'm just rewriting it just in a different way, but it helps me because at the end of the day, it's going to be in the same context that I want. So that's fine. Okay, how about 5, 6? What should I multiply that by? Okay, cool beans. We got 5. All right, I dig that. All right, so very nicely done, everybody. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see exactly what we're working with here. All right, so of course we're going to multiply first. All right, so we're going to have 2 times 6, which is 12. So we'll have 12 over 30, and then plus, and then we have 5 times 5, 25 over 30. All right, so that's what we have here. Ooh, that's close. 12 plus 25, not 17. Close though. So what we're going to do here is also close, Tracy. Getting closer. We're going to keep the denominator the same, but add 12 and 25 up here up top. There we go. There we go. 37 over 30. There you go. Nice. He's like, I got 17, and then I got 27, and I got 37. All right. So there we go. All right. Now I do want to point out. One thing here. Yes, thank you, Sono. That's exactly right. Is that the homework there may ask you to put it either in an improper fraction, as you see here, 37 over 30, or as a mixed number. So Sono is definitely right about that. We sometimes will need to convert into a mixed number. Okay, so again, just as a note, you may need to convert the answer to a mixed number for certain homework problems. So please be careful about what they ask you to do. Okay, so you'll need to convert, of course, 37 over 30 into that mixed number, and Sono has it right there. The mixed number here, and I'll actually put that on the second line here. That will be equal to 1 and 7 over 30. So let's go ahead and put 7 over 30 here. All right, so 1 and 7/30. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Okay. So first things first here. Let's take a look at 37 over 30. Okay. Hey, hey, we're here to learn. Yes, it does ask for mix. So some problems do. That's why I think it's important we go over this once again. So we first find out how many times. So on a calculator, you could go ahead and plug in 37 divided by 30. Now on your calculator here, you're going to get 1 point blah 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 blah. Now all you care about is the 1. Okay, so you only care about that number. Anything to the right of that decimal, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're just going to slap in a 1. All right, now what we need to do is we need to do 30 times 1 because we know that 30 goes into 37 just once, and of course that equals 30. And then the rest of it is going to be the remainder. So if you did it like a regular remainder type of problem, you would have 30 remainder 7, or you can also do 37 minus the 30, and that will equal 7. So 7 here would be your numerator, And then 30 would stick as your denominator here because that does not change. So that is how we can get 1 and 7 over 30. How many times does the top denominator go into the bottom denominator? Yeah, right, exactly. That's going to be your whole number here on the outside. That's correct. Once you figured that out, you just want to subtract it from what you have on the top here. And what you have in the numerator here, which was 37 in this case. Then you'll get the remainder here. And then that remainder will become your numerator here. Are there any questions about that? I hope I've made that a bit clear. If not, I'll do another one. At least for the, we'll probably do another one anyway, but any questions? Okay, let's do another one. I agree. Let's do it. All right. Okay, so let's talk about that too. Don't forget the rule here. The rule here is going to be, I need to write that out, and then let's do that example. Yeah. All right, so what's the general rule here? So the general rule is going to be pretty simple. If you're adding or subtracting fractions and stuff, okay, we're going to have, say, a either plus or minus, sorry, I'm going to do this way. A over C, let's say it's plus or minus, this is the generic rule I'm just writing down here, equals A plus or minus B over C. So it doesn't matter. You remember, you're just keeping the denominator and either adding or subtracting on the numerator there. And this is the generic rule here for adding and subtracting fractions. So I'll make that a tad bit bigger there. There we go. So it doesn't matter whether you're adding or subtracting. This is all. Is today all about? No, we're going to get into chapter 3 as well. So we'll be doing that a little bit. But I want to spend like a good chunk of time on adding and subtracting fractions, so it's not like, I know for a lot of people it tends to be a big sticking point, so that's why I spend a little more time on this, especially if you do use it on the job, especially if you're on like a shop floor or something like that, then definitely it's going to be one of those things that does play a significant role. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one here. Sure. Okay, so let's go with the. All right, here's our next example here. Okay, so let's go with 5 minus 1 and 1/5. All right, so that's going to be our next example here. 5 minus 1 and 1/5. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a couple things here. All right, hopefully this gives you a reminder about what we talked about last week. Now, since we're dealing with fractions here, okay, remember, if we want to put things in the same context, let's make things easier on ourselves. All right, so anytime we see a whole number, remember to go ahead and put that over 1. So again, note, if you see a whole number, put that number over 1. Okay, so one of those things that will make things significantly easier for you at the end of the day. Trust me, it really does. Okay, so we're going to have 5 over 1 here. And of course, we're going to go ahead and convert. All mixed numbers here should go into fractions of some sort. Okay, so convert all mixed numbers into fractions, improper fractions. So 1 and 1/5. What's 1 and 1/5 as a fraction, as an improper fraction? Okay. I know, Miguel, you fat fingered there. It's okay. Okay, very good. So let's go with 6/5. Okay, very good. Really quick here, are there any questions about converting from mixed numbers? That's okay, buddy. Um, is there any questions about converting from mixed number to improper fraction? Hope everybody understood where we got 6/5 from. But I just want to be sure. Okay, so really quick, if we have 1 1/5, okay, so with 1 1/5, you take the denominator times the big number. Okay, so you do denominator times the big number, so 1 times 5, and then add it to the numerator, plus 1. Put that over the denominator there, so 1 times 5. So if this was like, let's say this was 2, for example. Let me make this a little more clear here. Say this was 2, then the 2 would be right here. So if that was 2, for example. Okay, so this was 1 here. So, but to make it not confusing, that's why I'm putting 2 in that spot for the sake of the video. So you put the 1 there, and then put a 1 here. So this is where we get 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And so this is where we get the 6 and the 5 from in this case. All right. Hopefully that made it a bit easier. No problem. Okay. So let's go ahead and find our common denominator here. All right. So what's our common denominator? What's our common denominator here for these two guys? It's the common denominator between 1 and 5. All right. Good stuff. 5 is correct. Okay. So remember, we always start at the bigger number and higher. So we go with 5. All right. So I want 5 down here. Okay. So what should we multiply by here? All right. So I should just multiply by 5 here. I'm good with just multiplying by 5 here. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I agree. Multiply by 5, but is that all I got to do? And the top. That's right. Got to do the top, right? Everything is a balance, all right? So we're going to multiply by 5 here as well. Now we're not going to touch the second one because we already have 5 here. So you don't need to even multiply by 1. You could just like say, all right, I got 5 here, so why do I need to change that? Because you don't. Okay, so we're just going to leave that alone and be like, all right, it is what it is. We got what we wanted, so who cares? Okay, so let's go and see what we have. 25/5 minus 6/5. And so here we get equals, and again we put together our two numbers on the top on the numerator, 25 minus 6/5. And so, not 52. I wasn't playing cards. Let's go. All right. And there we get 19/5. All right. So you get 19/5. And what is 19/5 as a mixed number? All right, both correct. Tracy with 19/5, and Diego's correct here. 3 4/5 is a spot on. Okay, so 5 goes into 19 3 times, and the remainder here is going to be 4. Okay, so 3 4/5 is what we get here in this instance. Okay, are there any questions about that? Can't have a negative number as a numerator? I mean, it's possible to have a negative number as a numerator, yes. Now, to be realistic in what we're going to be using, no, that's fine. We could have a negative number in the top if we had 6 minus 25. That's certainly possible. The thing is that at the end of the day, yeah, I'll do that in just a second, Techno. So the thing is that at the end of the day, a lot of the things that we're going to be doing won't really require, signed numbers in that regard. That's okay. It's not a problem. Um, because again, in your practical workplace, you're basically just saying, "Oh, I got like 5 liters, and then you're subtracting like 3 and 2/3 liters. You're still having pretty much a positive result there at the end of the day. It's with negative numbers, you're going to see it sometimes, especially if you're talking maybe you're short money or something like that. Yeah, then maybe there's a negative balance. But yeah, most of the time we'll deal with the positive values. There are certain areas though that certainly we're going to deal with negative numbers. We'll see that later on, but we're trying to be as practical as possible when we first introduce this. So, um, there's just no class next Monday, so we're still meeting on the 2nd here this week on Wednesday, and we're still meeting next Wednesday as well. So this Wednesday, next Wednesday, we're still meeting. Um, we're going to be up to. Oh, okay. We're going to be up to probably chapter 4 by next Wednesday. Yeah, and we'll probably be by chapter 5. Um, Probably be chapter 5 by the 14th there. So probably do chapter 5 on the 14th. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of aiming stuff for. Now I don't know if we'll get there, but we're gonna try. So we'll try our best. Um, it just depends on the pace at the end of the day. So um, okay, just to show that off here, because I want to acknowledge Techno's question here. How do we get 3 and 4/5? Again, just do here, I'll show this off here, so maybe this will be a little easier. Um, okay, so if you do 19 divided by 5 by itself, again, 19 divided by 5, if you did it as old school division, it'll be 3 remainder 4. Okay, that's if you did super old school division. All right, and so because it's 3 remainder 4, 3 is going to be our big number, and this 4 here is going to be our numerator. Okay, so, oops, didn't mean to do that. So this 4 is going to go up top, and then the 5 that we divided by is going to go here on the bottom. Again, if you need to write this out, or again, do it on the calculator, that's fine. You can figure out how many times 5 goes into 19. Again, it's going to be 3 point whatever. You're going to take that 3, and then take that 3, multiply it by 5, you get 15. 19 minus 15 is the remainder that you get here, which is 4. So you could do it via old school division to get 3 remainder 4, and then set up your mixed number just like so. I hope that makes sense, Techno. So, does that make it clear, or no? Just let me know there. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do that. Perfect. All right. There we go. Perfecto. All right. I'll help you out. That's fine. I'll help you out a little bit more a little bit later. But I gotta get through some of these examples here. So I don't mind helping you after class either. So just to kind of get you comfortable with the concept. So. Okay. So let's go ahead and do some word problems here. All right. So let's do some word problems. And so we're going to be on page, this is page 114 in the e-text here. So we're going to be on page 114 in the e-text. And so let's go ahead and go over a couple of these examples here, and we'll see exactly how we can work with them. All right. Okay, so let's look here at number 3, a welding question. All right. So it says a welder needs a piece of 1/2-inch pipe, 34 3/4 inches long. She has a piece that is 46 3/8 inches long. How much must she cut off from the longer piece? Okay, so this is what we have to do here. We have to figure out how to basically set up this problem and solve for it. All right, so the question is, let's talk about the question. What should we do here in a problem like this? What should our see if I can make this a bit bigger. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right. Hopefully that'll be a bit easier to read there. So number 3 here. So what should we do here? How should we set this up? What should we do here? Update the denominators, okay. I guess we could do that. Let me go back to this. All right, so we have 2 fractions here. Okay, so let's write down those 2 fractions. We have 46 and 46 3/8. Okay, so I'll write that down. All right, I agree with that, Diego, as well. All right, 34 3/4. Okay, so we're going to subtract here, right? Because we want a piece of 34 3/4. Okay, that's what we want. But remember, it asks how much must she cut off from the longer piece, all right, in order to get to that amount. All right, so we want this, but we need to see how much we need to cut off from the bigger piece in order to acquire that amount. Okay, so that is correct. Okay, let's go back here for just a second. Okay, good. So we're going to convert these into improper fractions. So this is definitely where a calculator is very, very helpful. Okay, because there are ways to do this by hand. Okay, there are ways to do this by hand, but in reality, like I said, it can be a little cumbersome. So I could show you how to do it by hand, and it's not super hard, but in my opinion, it's a little bit more laborious than really what you're trying to practically use it for. So in a real life setting, it's you can do it by hand, but in reality, it's just like, well, I just need to get the stuff done. So we want to convert this using the calculator. And Diego's right here. If we take 46 times 8 plus 3, we're going to get 371 over 8. All right, subtracted by 139 over 4. Okay. All right, so that was 34 times 4 plus 3. Okay, what's the common denominator here? Okay. All right, very good. The common denominator here is indeed 8. Okay, so what should we, so we have 8 here, so we're going to leave that alone. And what do we need to multiply here by? We want to make this 4 and 8, so what should we multiply by here in order to get 8 as our common denominator? All right, 2. Okay, so let's multiply by 2. Okay, so I agree with everything here so far. So we got 371 over 8 minus, we got 139 times 2, which I believe is 278. Yes, 278. So we get 278 over 8. Okay, and we subtract those, and we get, let's see, that's 93. Okay, so 93 over 8. All right, that's correct. And so we just figure out, all right, so let's go through this one more time. We figure out how many times 8 goes into 93. All right, so 8 goes into 93 11 times. All right, I agree with that, Diego. That's correct. Just to show off how to, again, write out the mixed number here. So yeah, 11 times 8, which is 88, and then we take the 93 minus 88. That's going to give us a remainder of 5. So then that justifies where we're going to get 11 and 5/8 there as our final answer for this problem. Okay. So again, it's not too tough. It's just, again, it does take practice though. Okay, so just to kind of justify where we got the mixed number from, where it's like, okay, where did it come from? You're like, oh yeah, it came from here. It's like, okay, cool. So that's where it came from. Mm-hmm. All right. Any questions about that? Nope. Okay. Cool. Cool. Uh, let's see here. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and do a couple more here, so we can see just a couple more, just kind of. I hope this is starting to make sense, though. So for those of you who struggle with fractions and stuff, I hope makes some sense. Yes, yes, it is some stinky cheese, but it has to be done, regardless of what we think. All right, let's go to number 10. Like, if there's one thing I've always learned in math, is that typically it follows that certain principle that the the simplest things are the hardest things in this subject, and it's a pain. So that's one of those things you learn in math rather quickly, is just that part there. I'm gonna shrink this down a bit so I can get access to that one a little bit easier. Okay, so let's look at number 10 there. All right, there we go. I think that works. Or, yeah, that works right there. Perfect. Okay. Hey, you're not supposed to. Hey, come back here. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. All right, so let's look at number 10. What is the total length of a certain machine part that is made by joining 4 pieces that measure the following things? Okay. We're studying for technical mathematics. All right. So in this case here, we're joining 4 pieces together. So if we're joining 4 pieces together, what does that mean? Yeah, exactly. Nice. All right, so all we're going to do straight up is just add them together. Yeah, let's sum them up. And let's see what we got. All right. So, taking a look at what we got here. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and all right. And that was a big fart. All right, let's try that again. Um, okay, so let's write these down here. All right, so we got 3 1/8, 1 5/32, 2 7/16, and finally we got 1 1/4. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and convert these into from mixed numbers into improper fractions. All right. Do I use Wolfram Alpha? No, not in this class. So let's convert each one of these into improper fractions. So what should we do? What would these be? What would 3 1/8 be, for example? All right. Very good. 25/8. All right. Well, I think you're ahead of me there, Sono. I gotta justify that answer first, though. How about 1 5/32? Nah, that's cool, Sono. It's all good, buddy. So, 1 5/32, 37/32. Yeah, just understand. I know you guys can work ahead. I just want to kind of show methodically how to kind of do it, so that way, it kind of helps everybody just kind of getting those basics down, especially when you kind of struggle with it a little bit. So, that's fine. 2 7/16. What's that going to be? What's that going to be? 2 7/16. 39/16. Very good. All right, so again, 2 times 16 is just 32. 32 plus 7, 39. So that's how you get 39/16 there. All right, and then we got 1 1/4. It's 1 1/4 as a improper fraction. All right, very good. Okay, so what we want is a common denominator here between these 4 fractions, okay? So let's find a common denominator here. Yes, very good, Sono, that's right. The common denominator here is 32. So we have 4 of them, right? We have 8, 32, 16, and 4. But again, with 32, we always start at the biggest number, being 32, and we know that 4, 16, and 8 all go into 32. So that's why, again, you always start from the biggest denominator and work your way up, okay? All right, so if we want 32 here, what should we multiply by here in this case? If we have 8 down here. 4, all right. So we got 4 here, and remember, we got to multiply the top here by 4 as well. All right, so remember, everything's a balance. Everything in algebra, if you ever want to understand algebra and math, it's always balance. That's how you basically be successful in math. Balance, balance, and more balance. Just basically playing a manipulation game. By 2, okay, that's right. So let's go by 2. All right, so let's go by 2 here. Excellent. All right, and how about that last one there? By 8. All right, very good. All right, good stuff. Okay, so all of you did pretty well with that. That's good. Okay, so again, multiply by 4 top and bottom. Kept the second one the same. Third one multiply by 2 top bottom, and the fourth here multiply by 8 top bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and just see what we have here. So we have 100. Again, you could do this via the calculator at this point and just kind of put this all together. But again, I just want to show this out just so, again, give you a nice methodical way to kind of do it one step at a time. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to, I mean, if you know it, okay, great, but if you like going slow, that's also just as acceptable. All right, so it makes it easier for you at the end of the day. Remember, everybody, the laziest way is the best way. So if you need to go slower, then you go slower and make it lazier for you. That's okay. All right. So, all right. Yep, for the visual learners too, absolutely. So we get 137. All right. So we got what is that? 70. That's 100. That's 115. That's 155. That's 255. All right. 255. I'm a king. I don't think I'm 255. Yeah. Sorry, just doing that in my head. All right. So I have a calculator, but I'm like, I can do this a bit faster. So I was like, okay, let's do it faster. Um, hey, thanks. Appreciate that. Uh, me for president. I wish. There's so many good ideas I have floating around in my head. Okay. Yeah, I wish. I wish I could make a. Wish I could make a real change. But I'll make my change here in this math class to help you be better people, because that's what it's about. So I could go into politics, but yeah, this isn't the time or place for such things. So I think I would do better than probably, you know, not to get into politics, but I'm like, eh, both parties, meh, pretty much. So the president on me. That sounds so bizarre. Yeah. Oh well, I'm happy. Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't know my charisma would affect you. 8 days into this. Do we need a mixed number for this? Yes. Okay. So we figured out how many times 32 goes into 255. So I believe that's 7 times. So that's gonna be 224. All right. So 224, and that's gonna be 31. So yeah, 31 is what we get for that. So yeah. All right. So if they do ask you for a mixed number, 7 and 31 over 32 would be your final answer. If you did it the easy way, cool, man. I'm down with that. If you have an easier way, go for it, bro. Please share. I don't mind. Any which way, there's not a way, there's not the way, there's a way. So, hey, you got more ways than one? I got no problem with that. Yeah, that works too. That would be a consistent process. Absolutely. Makes sense to me. If you find that to be easier, by all means, please. Not sure if I deserve that praise, but okay. So man, let's see. All right. All right, so are there any questions about this section here, adding and subtracting of fractions? I hope that this made a lot more sense now, because one of the things to be as practical as possible, thank you, one of the things that is practical as possible here, um, again, is to know how to do this, of course, not only with a calculator, but of course to be doing it in your daily job if that happens to be part of your daily job, especially if you work in the trades. You're going to be doing this, you're going to be using this all the time. If you've probably been in a shop floor, if you've been in our floor, that's fine. In the shop floor at Harper there, they'll have posters of like decimals and fractions and stuff, and you can actually go ahead and take a look at those. So those are, you just struggle finding mixed numbers, that's okay. That's okay. That's why, hey, like I said, I'll help you after class, and we'll go over that. That's not a problem. All right, that's not a problem at all. I'm here to help you. So we're all here to help. We're here to help each other. Remember, the success of everybody is important. So yeah, I'm here to help. Trace is here to help. Everybody's here to help if you don't understand something. I have no problem helping you or anybody else. Yeah, look. You don't have look. That's why I want to be. That's why I want to encourage questions. I want to encourage questions because you know what? Somebody may know something that you don't, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to feel alone that you feel dumb that you don't know something. Like, no, I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to feel like, you know what? If you're struggling at something, hey, everybody's here to kind of reach out their hand and help. And, you know, that's pretty much what it is. Oh, I didn't know Illuminati were in the chat. uh, yeah, a Discord group is great. If you have a separate Discord group, that would be wonderful. You guys can talk to each other on there as well. For those of you who don't have Discord or don't know what Discord is, again, Discord is a chatting app, usually for gaming, but can be literally for anything. So again, for those of you who don't know what Discord is, a very very handy program to have, so you can just chat with your friends um, in a nice public/private setting. So very easy to use, very simple, and it's free. So well, um, you can make a Discord that's not toxic. I mean, you can make a Discord for this class. Trust me, it won't be toxic unless you add in Overwatch players, competitive Overwatch players, is what I'm saying. Then you'll get toxicity. Then unfortunately. I stopped playing competitive Overwatch after season 2 because I was like, I don't want to deal with that. That's just nonsense. Oh man, CS:GO. There you go. Back in the day, I used to play CS Source. Oh boy, I used to play that on the regular. That was fun. Yeah, long time ago, man. We're talking kind of way back in the day. I was part of a. I was a. It became a lot hotter. Yeah, I played CS Source back in the day. Just for funsies, I was part of a group called Mystery Meat, and we had a little chat board, and we just would you just play just match after match after match. It was super fun. I mean, look, if you guys don't believe me, like let me. I know my place is a little messy and stuff, but here I'm just gonna grab my camera here for just a second, and I'll just kind of turn it over to my rig here. So yeah, let me see if you guys can get a good look at that there. So there's my I know. So there's my rig. Let's see. Yeah. So you can see my rig here and stuff. There you go. So that's my rig. It's got the 2070 Super. I got the H150i triple 140s for my CPU cooler. And I still got my old Mobo in there because again I didn't want to swap that out. It's still pretty good MSI. So yeah, built that with the parts there, and it runs really well, and I mean really well. So I got this new case too. So this cooler is amazing. Okay, the H150i is great. Okay, so if you're gonna get a cooler, yeah, the H150i RGB is quite amazing. Really worth it. One of the better ones that I would say that I've had there. Come here. All right. Well, see if I can get that. Sorry for the terrible cameras. I'm bad at doing this. So there we go. Hey, my gear altogether was let me adjust that there. My gear altogether was about 3,500. About, I want to say. I built my original computer there about 5 years ago. So this is a kind of like a modified second build, just to let you know. Oh, I better get that adjusted there. Oop. All right. I should. I'm professionally streaming mathematics. What's wrong with that? I'll see no problem streaming some mathematics. No, I have a better side hustle than that. But can it run Crisis? Nothing can run Crisis, okay? Nothing. Not even Crisis, not even Crisis developers can run Crisis itself. Okay. Sorry for the adjustment here. Here we go. Look, I have a good side hustle going on. All right, so the side hustle is real. So I trade options and make good money. So that's okay. All right, I gotta get into. Do you want me to show you really quick? Let me show you guys really quick, okay? You guys asked. If you want to see where math can be very helpful, I will show you my account. Okay. So I know we're taking a small detour here, but that's okay. Let me. I gotta do one thing here real fast. Hang on, I'm just gonna blank out the screen here for a second. So where's that thing? No. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, let's need to blank that out for just a second. Oh, did I run 2 sessions accidentally? Oh yeah, I did. Not bad. Worry about. I just have to make one setting change. That's all. No. Okay, so if I change this to privacy mode, how does that work again? Oh yeah, right. So let's turn this back on. Boop. All right, there we go. Uh, this is my account here, just trading options. Um, yeah, I started basically in April trading options. Um, and then this is how much I've made for the year. So I've made like I don't know, like 47 grand in like um, a few months. So yeah, that happened. So like today I made like, I want to say, yeah. So today I made 3,100 bucks just by sitting on my ass and from 8:30 to 3 o'clock, literally doing nothing. It's pretty great. You want to be my sugar daddy? How do I know what to trade? I keep my pulse on the market very closely. I mean, I have lost money before. I've lost money before and I've gained money before. But if you understand kind of like the trend of the market, it you can speculate really well. The nicest part about options is that you can make money whether it's going up or going down. So if you guess down, like I did today, guess that the S&P 500 index is going to be below 3520 for the day. Excuse me. So that's what these two trades represent. Basically, it's what's called a credit spread. Basically, that means that I'm going to guess either it's going to stay above a price or it's going to stay below a price. And so I basically I traded against saying it's going to stay below a price, okay? And I guessed it was going to be 3520, and it ended at 3500 today. So I got 100% of my profit out of that. And the profit I got out of that was cool. I don't know, 1,100 bucks or so. So I made a nice chunk of change on that trade, and then I made the same guess on my second account, and I made like 600 bucks off of that or so. So yeah, can you start small? Absolutely, you can start small. Sure, there's some stocks out there like SPX is basically if you have say $500 that you can risk or hedge, all right. But you can also try SPY. SPY is the smaller version, which has differences of $1 per strike. So I know what I'm kind of saying kind of doesn't make sense right now, but yeah, notice it's $1 per, so you could start with 100 bucks and hedge $100 and then make some money off of that. So you can start small if you like. That's actually per. Yeah, it took me a while to kind of, yeah, Sono, it took me a while to kind of get used to the idea. Like it took me some research and time. Like my yeah, the basics are a little bit at first take a little bit of time to kind of get used to. Like it's not so easy to kind of get into it right away. And because you got to know those fundamentals, like what does it mean to do this or what does it mean to do that. Like I had to I had to learn and experience, and of course everybody has their own comfort zone and what they like to trade and whatnot. So, and of course taxes are different and blah blah blah. Okay, whatever, I'll just figure that out at the end of the year anyway. So um yeah, I mean, thing is, yeah, I mean, I could show you how to make a successful trade. I helped my friend make a successful trade. Made 12 bucks in a week, and that was good for him. So it was like, oh, that wasn't too bad. You can set your trade to however far you want. So I just set my trades to like the same day or maybe a couple days out or a week out. I'm a little more risky, but the side hustle in today's market is pretty helpful. So you know, have there been bad days? Sure, there have been bad days. Have there been good days? Of course, there have been good days. I think the most that I made in a single day was $24,500. And then the last, I think my big break though came from investing in Ford, and then I made like 13,000 in a single day. and that was pretty good. So, yeah, there have been times where I've lost a lot of money too. So it's not like, I don't understand that. Robinhood, yeah, a lot of people like Robinhood. The only problem I have with Robinhood is that Robinhood has that's the thing. Like, okay, so it's asked like saying, let's talk about crypto for a second. If you talk about cryptocurrency, for example, getting money and withdrawing money out of crypto is very hard. And that's why I don't want to do crypto. Like, you could do crypto and that's fine. Okay, it's really not hard to do crypto. You can just like, you can, buy, sell, but it really is the Wild West, and it's very hard to withdraw cash because you have to literally convert it into another cryptocurrency and then convert it into cash, and withdrawing it, there's fees and all this other stuff. So basically, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want, with at least the market, it's easier to just deposit cash and then withdraw that cash when you want. And it'll take a few days, but at least it's a certainty. So I that's why I don't want to do crypto. I don't think that because of the hard time to even get money back is just a waste of time for me, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. So I mean, I've done decent for myself. It 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 helps pay the bills. Trust me, I'm not super rich. Okay, it's just that I happen to do pretty decent. So yeah. So there you go. You got a little preview there. Yay. I'm sh- Do I touch my money earned through options? Well, that's a good question. I did take out some money, and I'm only using it for my house. So, uh, really to pay off bills that I felt were necessary. I'm not a guy who spends a lot of money anyway, so I don't like want to have my place be full of like stuff and crap that. Problem is, if you buy nonsensical stuff, then it just collects dust in your house and it doesn't do anything. So I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for cleaning that up. That's kind of a pain. That's like that point where you like shove everything in your closet because that's the way you get stuff done. Yeah, when you get to that point, you're like, nah. Getting more things just makes it worse. I don't have a closet big enough to fit all that crap in. I learned that because I lived in Japan. So when I lived in Japan, I learned to live with very few things. Okay. Yeah. The most things I buy are food, basically. I know it's not the most glamorous thing in the whole wide world, but it's what gets me by without too much trouble. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Everybody's got their own lifestyle, and I respect each and every one of your lifestyles. You don't have to like do it the way I do. You could do it the way you could do it the way you want. So, like that's just the way I live my life, but everybody's got their own certain way of living. So, I respect any and all which ways that you guys decide to do that. I'm cool with that. So, yes. Are there any? I guess it is. Are there any questions so far? Any questions, anybody? Again, you can type no in the chat or whatever. I use Tastyworks. So, yeah. I'm sure a lot of you have trading questions, I'm sure. Tell you what, you guys can reserve your trading questions until after I'm done today. When does my hustle class start? I need to register. There's no fee for my hustle class, okay? I promise you that. Only because I have very strong feelings about college in general. So, you know. We'll do that hustle after I'm done here today though. Okay? I promise that. So I'll get these next couple sections done and then we'll do the hustle stuff. All right. So the next two sections here talk about adding and subtracting of decimals and well, this is what you get. Adding, subtracting of decimals, and multiplication and division of decimals are going to be the next couple sections here. Just talking about that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look here at how to add or subtract decimals. What's the key here? If you were to do this by hand, you just basically line up the decimals. Okay, this is really not too hard. All right, so meaning to say you have like $1.53, and then maybe you have, maybe you're adding to it here. Let's move this over. You add to it, say, I don't know, just add 247. So you notice that the decimals are lined up, so you'd put the answer there and the decimal on the bottom there, and that's all well and good. Now, a majority of this, pretty much this part here, is just going to be you essentially just kind of using the calculator for this part here. There's not really a whole lot going on here in terms of just adding and subtracting. So, but there are a couple things that I do want a reference to here. Um, so, and they actually do play a rather big role here. So, one of the things that you will see in the online homework, sometimes they'll talk about rounding, sometimes they'll talk about, going out to a certain decimal place. And so, say, for example, here, there's certain decimal places for certain decimals, and let's see, I really hate that example. It's a terrible example. All right, awful. All right, so I'm going to write down a number here, and I'm just going to point out each one here. All right, so let's say this is our decimal number here, 0.1234567. All right, simple enough. All right. Now what we can do is identify each of one of the placeholders here in the decimal itself. Okay, so let's talk about this 1 right here. All right, let's talk about that 1 right there. All right, what placeholder, if you guys remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but I'll just ask the general question. What placeholder is the 1? What do we call that in a decimal? Where's the 1 located? What is that? What spot? So we have like ones and tens and hundreds, for example. What would 1 be in terms of a decimal there? That's close. That's close. Almost. Not ones and not tens. Remember what it's called here on the right side. You guys are right. It's 10. 10. Tenths. Yeah, tenths. Okay, so ones is like to the left of the decimal. This would be like the 1 spot here. And this would be tens and hundreds and thousands. Remember that tenths if we're talking to the right of that. I just wanted to kind of like say, all right, to the left is like ones and tens and hundreds and whatever. To the right, we start with tenths. All right, that's fine if you get look. Hey, that's why we're here. We're reviewing stuff. All right. What about 2? 2 decimal places. What would that be also represented as? What would we call that placeholder? All right. Nice job, Impure. All right, so hundredths. Okay, perfect. All right, so hundredths. All right, how about 3? What would 3 be? All right, thousands. Good. All right. And then we could keep going here, of course. 4 is, again, 10 thousandths. All right. 5 is 100 thousandths. 6 is going to be millionths. And 7 is like 10 millionths, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this can keep going on infinitely as far as we want to, of course. But again, these are the first like 7 placeholders that you would see for decimals. I mean, like I said, we could extend this out even further, but I don't want to bore you. So, thing is, at the end of the day, if it asks you to round to 1 decimal place, or it asks you to round to tenths, then you know that's going to be 1 decimal place. If you know that it rounds to hundredths, if that's what it says in the homework, hey, we round to 2 decimal places. Thousands, 3 decimal places. 10 thousandths, 4 decimal places, and so on and so forth. Millionths would be, say, 6 decimal places. Millionths, millions is used in, like, say, if you are, yeah, millions is used in like very precise machining. So like, or grinding, for example, if you have very specific tolerancing on prints, they could be up to millionths of an inch or millionths of a meter. So you have to make it like the part you have that people make in manufacturing. Sometimes they make it and then they'll send it off to another company, and that company will grind it down very finely in order to meet the specifications, because sometimes the regular shop doesn't have those tools available to make those those parts as fine as possible. So, and believe me, yeah, they'll pay good money to grind that piece down. They'll pay very good money for that. So yeah, grinding companies, they make a good chunk of profit just off of contract work, because they have the tools necessary in order to get it down to like millionths of an inch. And some of that is super important. What if you're making like the let's let's say you're Elon Musk and you're making the SpaceX rocket. You want to be sure that you have everything as precise as possible, down to the millionths or 10 millionths of an inch. Okay, it has to be perfect, otherwise you could end in disaster. So you want to be very, very careful about something like that. So those people are like, oh, that doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it kind of does. When your lives are at risk, and yeah, you want to be extra, 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 extra sure. So, hence why it costs so much money to kind of put those sort of things together, because of the amount of precision and accuracy that needs to go into the project itself. So, on paper, it sounds easy. In practicality, it's actually fairly difficult. Um, Engineering 101. All right, so we have that. All right, so let's go ahead and do some examples here about adding and subtracting. We're going to go ahead and see how to work with some of these. Some of these aren't, overtly too hard. I don't suspect them to be very too hard whatsoever. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples. So go ahead and change this page here. Go to. So this will be on page 139 in your book, in your e-text. All right. Okay. All right. Let's look at. All right. Let's take a look at number 6, plumbing. It says a piece of pipe 8.4 inches long is cut from a piece of 40.8 inches long. What is the length of the longer piece if the width of the saw cut is 0.2 inches? All right. What do we get here in this case for number 6? What do we get for this answer here for number 6? Okay, so we have 40.8 minus 8. Oh, maybe I should enter that in. All right, there we go. Minus 0.2. All right. Anybody tell me what this answer is going to be? Again, you probably go ahead. You can go ahead and use your calculator for that, so that's fine. All right. 32.2 inches. Very nice. Okay. Good stuff. Easy peasy. All right. Let's go ahead and try another one here. There's a couple of these that actually do have some good relevancy to them. All right. Let's take a look here. Which one I want to do here? Yeah. All right. Let's look at the. All right. So let's look at number 13 here using this diagram that we see off here to the left. 32.3. Oh, okay. I was going to say, okay. Woo! I was like, wait, 32.3? Oh, no. Okay. All right, so let's look at 13 here. 13 says a piston must fit in a bore with a diameter of 3.3750 inches. What must be the diameter of the piston given the clearance shown in the diagram? All right. All right, so what would be our answer here? This is our, just looking at this little diagram here off to the left. What would we do here in this case? Anybody got an answer for me? All right, very good. That's right. And what do we get there as an answer? All right, 3.37. Very good. Nice. And I believe this is inches. Yeah. So again, wait, did I actually? Yeah, let me check that again. Hang on. 375. Where is that? 2.25. Yeah, it should be 3.37. That's correct. Because then the last 50 should cancel out there. I'm just making sure there. Yeah, that's correct. All right, good stuff. That's okay. All right, so I mean, this section here is not too hard. Again, a lot of it is just kind of setting it up properly. Just adding or subtracting the appropriate way. This honestly, this is more relevant in terms of like what we'll be using decimals for. Of course, we'll be using that with like percentages and whatnot. We'll see that in chapter 4, where we're going to apply percentages of some variety. All right, where we're going to see, like, for example, if we were talking about your income tax. Okay, I know nobody likes income tax, but the way you calculate income tax is using the standardized tax table for that particular year and checking your adjusted gross income and then progressively working up how much in tax that you would have to pay for that year. So, and then of course, the simplistic approach is basically kind of like that. So, but that's where decimal certainly can be even more helpful, is basically in terms of money. Money is kind of a thing. It's helpful. It does things like things. All right. Um, I don't know. Um, I have no idea if we gonna have field trips. The last field trip I took with the classes, we went to uh, last field trip we took is for like it was like an after class field trip. We went to like Texas Roadhouse and had steaks for lunch. Yeah, that was pretty good. Now, if you're not a steak person, that's fine. The Olive Garden's across the street, so there you go. All right, when's when's our Texas Roadhouse lunch date? Well, that's a good idea. I mean, I don't mind doing a lunch date over with you guys at Texas Roadhouse. That's fine by me. I don't mind doing that if you guys want to meet me face to face outside of this dank camera. I don't have a problem doing that. We just arrange it at some time, and then if you want to go, then you can. I'm not. I wouldn't force anybody to do that, obviously, but you know, do that as kind of an outside thing. Cool. It's on you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's figure out. Yeah, of course you can. As long as you're of age, Ivan, you're good. As long as you're of legal age, you can order whatever the heck you want. So you do you at the end of the day. Way above, then way okay with me. Oh my gosh. We're already planning it out. Drink number one, Jaeger bombs. Oh my gosh. I got the next three. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, I can. I have done math problems with alcohol. Yes, that's entirely possible for me. it's really sad. I know, but I can still do math problems in my head, even if I'm inebriated. Like that doesn't change. I don't know why. I could do math problems in my head despite being inebriated. For every wrong, you take a shot. Oh, there you go. All right, let's move on here to the man. I'm gonna get at some point. I'm gonna get through this at some point. It's been a wild day already. Yeah, some people do. You just gotta be careful. You don't want to, obviously, I always say, if you're gonna drink, you always drink in moderation. Please be careful about how you handle alcohol. Okay, we don't. I don't encourage I don't encourage alcohol usage to an extreme amount. Just please be responsible for yourself. So, yeah, most of the time I just drink at home too. I don't even drink that often, so I may drink like, I don't know, once every couple months or so. So, all right, let's go over multiplication division of decimal numbers. Now, this by itself, once again, not too hard. Again, you will be able to use a calculator for this without too much trouble. So let's go over some problems here at least, and let's see what we can get. All right. Okay. So let's take a look here at. Excuse me. Let's take a look here at number 6. How much does 15.7 square feet of number 16 gauge steel weigh if 1 square foot weighs 2.55 pounds? So what should we do here for this problem? All right. Anybody got an answer for me here? Okay. Very good. And what do we get there? What does that equal? Okay. Good. So 40 point, yeah, that's right. It's 40.035 pounds. All right. Now, like I said, certain homework questions will ask you to round. Okay, just be careful about what it wants you to round to, whether it be tens, hundreds, thousands. Okay, you'll be able to do that. All right. So again, just be aware. For me, if I were doing a paper-based test, I wouldn't really care. But I know that the computer-based test does care. So just yeah, just be a little careful. It could be 40 pounds, or it could be like 40.04 pounds if they ask you to the two decimal places or the hundredths place, or it's just 40.035. It's one of those three, depending on whatever it asks you. Again, I'm not sure because obviously it would have to depend on what my math lab asks. But again, I just just kind of covering the bases there just in case, so you're not confused that one of those three answers will be acceptable in some capacity or form. Okay, let's take a look here at another one. All right, so number 14, all right, metalworking. A casting weighs 3.68 pounds. How many castings are contained in a load weighing 5888 pounds? What should we do here in this case? The first test here won't be until after chapter 5, okay? So it'll be chapters 1 to 5. So once we're done with chapter 5, I'll announce the first test. So it won't be for the people in the 8-week class, it won't be for another couple weeks or so. Won't be for at least a couple weeks. So I will make an announcement a week before the test will be put up, so that way you'll have plenty of warning beforehand. And then the homework will be due that day for the people in the 8-week class. Divide. Okay, good. So 5888 divided by that. So is yeah, did it turn out to be is it 1600 exact? This one you need a calculator for, so I'll actually use this for this one. Okay, yeah. 1600 exact. All right. So, okay. Just to let you know here, if it was like 1600.1 or something like that, your answer would still be 1600 because you want like a full casting. So, since you only accept full castings, even if it said 1600.1, you would have 1600 as still as your answer. All right. So just to clarify there, certain problems that we'll see later on will certainly reflect that, where it's like saying, all right, you got something left over, but we're not including that leftover part as part of our result. So just be a little bit careful about that. Okay. All right, let's look at 15 here. 15 is a pretty classic problem I like to do. So one of my favorite problems to do. A barrel partially filled with liquid fertilizer weighs 267.75 pounds. The empty barrel weighs 18 pounds and the fertilizer weighs 9.25 pounds per gallon. How many gallons of fertilizer are in the barrel? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How do we get just divide 5888 divided by 3.68? Go ahead and just put that into the calculator there. Again, if you wanted to do it the by hand, it will take a little bit longer to kind of explain, but I can do that if you like. Because you have the reason why that happens is because you have a total load of 5,888 pounds, but each casting will weigh 3.68 pounds. So then you can see how you actually got the 1600 there. Okay, cool. All right, so how about 15 there? What should we do for that? How are we going to find how many gallons of fertilizer are in this barrel? Oh, okay. That was the issue. Okay. Can you tell me how you got that, Techno? Well, rounded. I'm gonna need a little work behind that. Like I want to see the process about how you got that. That's all. All right, anybody? All right. Well, let's go through this carefully here. So, all right. Very good. That's right, Ivan. 267.75 subtracted by the 18. All right, that's right. And then divide that result, which is 249.75. That's correct. And then divide that by the 9.25 pounds per gallon. And that is exactly how you get 27, right? Spot on. So 27 is correct. So something that I guess I want to kind of say here is that I know it's like, yeah, you got the right answer, 27. That's cool. But I want you to tell me how you got that answer. Like, tell me the process. Like, because you have to know the process in order to do other problems. So it's like, I know how to do this problem, but can you do that consistently for other types of problems as well when you do the critical thinking? Type too slow, that's fine. That's fine. But I just want to see your understanding behind it. That's all. Because I want to see your progress, your personal progress. That's important to me. So, um, even if you type slow, I say, hey, you're understanding this. It's nice to get an answer. I just want to see the process and how you get there. I think that's very important because that'll help for your critical thinking later on when you actually got to put practice to reality. So, um, I just wanted to kind of point that out there. Let's see. Most of that is pretty easy. Okay. I think that's. Wait. Oh, okay, okay, okay. That was for that. All right. Okay. Are there any questions about sections 2.4, 3.1, and 3.2? Any questions about that? Okay. No? Okay. So, fortunately, we've been going at a nice pace here. That's why I do chapter 1 all in one day, so we can get work a little bit ahead of the curve. All right. So, I wanted to do these 3 sections here today, and then for next time we'll do the last 2 sections here of last section, or I think last 2 or last 1. Yeah, last section of chapter 3. Sorry, and then we'll get right into chapter 4 here. So I know it seems like we're working very fast, but we're still pretty ahead. So I'm really happy about our current pace. At times I'll be slowing it down, like today. We do like a few easy sections. I think the first section, though, of course, 2.4, talking about adding, subtracting, and fractions, is very, very important for what we're going to be doing later. Um, and then decimal stuff. Really, a lot of that stuff is calculator based. So that's why I kind of skimmed over that a little bit. Is you just got to be able to look at the problem and be able to kind of interpret it. Again, talking about the interpretation, then do those calculations, and really, a lot of the problems there aren't really all that tough to do. So just wanted to point that out and be like, all right, yeah, it's pretty straightforward in that regard. Okay. Um, Anything else from anybody regarding those 3 questions, or anything else that they would like to ask? Okay. Well, all right. So that pretty much will end for today's lecture. All right. So that's where I kind of wanted to stop for the day. All right. So basically, on Wednesday we'll cover the last part of chapter 3, as I said, and the beginning of chapter 4. Now we're into the part that I promised you to do. So I'll take questions about the side hustle there. That's fine. If you guys want to ask me questions about said side hustle, you can feel free to do so. And that's fine. And I'll be happy to answer it as best as I possibly can. Um, I want to say probably in total, uh, maybe like 10 to 15 thousand. Oh, first time around, sorry. First time around was like 7,000, $7,000, somewhere around there. But the thing is that you don't have to like necessarily invest that much. Um, that was a big learning process for me. So how I saved $7,000? You can put a little bit of money every month if you save enough. So, and since I don't spend very much, then I had enough to actually kind of put it a little by little. So I mean, it wasn't like instant money, but you know, borrow a couple hundred. That's okay. That's a hell of a typo, Gustavo. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, it is possible for you guys to do the same thing. But you know, the one thing that I recommend to pretty much everybody is if they're gonna get into something new, is just to start small and start slow. You know, you don't have to be like me and just kind of dive head first. I had a reason for doing so, by the way. Um, I had a really strong reason for doing so, to kind of dive a little bit into it. So my reasoning was is that when I started in April, it was about that time where the COVID stuff had happened and everything. I was doing online stuff here on Twitch and stuff like that, and I realized I'm like I got an email saying, "Oh yeah, you don't have any classes for the summer," and it was the first time I hadn't worked in the summer in a very long time. So I'm like, "Ah, well, I'm gonna need some money for I need to make some money here for my bills for the next 4 months or so." And I had some saved up, but if I didn't have any other money coming in, well, it's gonna be pretty dangerous. I'm gonna have very little money left. So I'm like, okay, I had a goal in mind. I'm like, so I factor in my bills, approximately, and I said, all right, my approximate bills were X amount of dollars per month. I was gonna be out of work for 4 months, so I'm like, all right, take that X amount of dollars per month, multiply by four, and this is the amount that my goal was. And it wasn't like super big. It was a modest goal. So it wasn't just like, oh yeah, it's a ton of money. Like no, it wasn't a lot, but it's something that I needed to, of course, pay my bills off so I could be, at least set until I can start working again, for the fall semester, because at least I had the fall semester to fall back on, literally. So that's why I got into it kind of the way that I did. I didn't expect it to turn out this well, mind you. I never did. Because you're going into something brand new and you have, obviously very little knowledge. So I had to, quickly just kind of pick up on my knowledge there, my knowledge base. And it took me a few weeks to kind of pick up on my knowledge base. But, once I started getting experience and once I started figuring out what those little details that really make it easier for you to be a success, to be successful at least on certain things, and there, like I said, there's good trades I made, there's bad trades I made, there's, not, it didn't come with like, oh, I'm always succeeding 100% of the time, that's not realistic either. No, I had to learn, kind of the hard way sometimes, if I'm not careful enough. So I've learned to be a little bit more conservative. I've learned to, you accept the good with the bad, and that, the one thing that you try not to be when you're doing trading and stuff is, you try, mind you, try is you try not to be too emotional about your trades. So that can be very tough. Is to not be super emotional. So because when you realize it's your money on the line and you're like, oh, and you kind of start panicking a bit and back and forth and stuff like that. So that can be a little bit nerve wracking and gives people anxiety, sort of thing. So, but there are ways around that for options because you can plan ahead in advance and not have to worry about looking at it, every single minute of every single day. If you want to do that, you can, but you don't have to if you don't want to. That's not something you necessarily have to do. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what are options. Okay, and that's a great question, Gustavo. The answer is no. People have asked that to me. He's like, yeah, you're really successful. You did really well with this side hustle stuff. So why don't you make that full time? And the answer to me is no, because first of all, it's not certain that I'm going to always be successful. Number one, and number two, I love teaching too much to really do this as a full time gig. I think I would be bored out of my mind, to be perfectly honest, because I get to have more fun teaching you guys and helping you guys and making a bigger impact than it is just padding my own bank account. Like, I could pad my bank account, but it's just like it's there as basically a way to just secure me financially. But in terms of like fulfillment, in terms of my own kind of spiritual kind of life fulfillment, it will never compare to what I'm doing right now and helping you guys and teaching you. Of course you do. Of course you got to pay taxes on that. Yeah, I'll be paying a lot of taxes next year. There's no question about it. Got to pay taxes on that. Got to do the right thing. But if you pay more taxes, that means you're making more money. And that's not a bad thing either. So, I mean, the IRS has joined the chat, right? Oh yeah, the IRS will definitely hear from me. They'll definitely get their stuff. They'll definitely get their cut. I will guarantee that. The IRS is definitely getting their cut, and then some. Well, you asked what exactly are options. Well, let's go ahead and take a look here, and let's at least talking about what an option is. So we're just going to go over a basic video if you want to know what options are. So what tools do we need to start, let's say, tomorrow? There are several tools that you'll need here. Math skills are kinda, well, kinda. There's a couple skills that can certainly be helpful. I can go over those here in just a second. But for those of you who are not sure what an option is, let me go ahead and play this small video here to give you the basics behind options in general. All right, and then see what you guys think.
In order to understand what options are, let's start with an example. Meet Zoe. Zoe has a car. This is Bill. Bill requests from Zoe to give him the right to buy the car from her at $15,000 in cash anytime during the next month. Zoe might agree on the condition that Bill pays her 2% of the value of the car, which is $300, for waiting out the month without a transaction. Zoe cannot sell her car to anyone else during this waiting period. Bill does not have to buy the car in this time frame, but he does have the right to do so. Let's look at the definition. An option is a contract allowing the recipient the right, but not the obligation, to transact a known transaction, buy or sell, of a known asset at a known price in a known predefined time frame. A contract, the option agreement between two parties. A recipient of the option right. In our case, it's Bill, also called option buyer or the option holder. A known asset, the core of the option. In our case, it's Bill's opportunity to buy a car from Zoe. At a known price, $15,000, also called strike, and $300, which is the price of the option. In a known predefined time frame. In our case, 1 month. After that time, the option has no value. This predefined time frame in which the option will be exercisable is called the option's term or duration. Options that can be made exercisable at any time during the time period are called American options. Options that can be exercised only at the end of the period are called European. The person giving the right and taking upon himself the obligation, in our case Zoe, is sometimes called the originator or option writer or option seller. The technical name of an option that involves the right to buy an asset at a price is a call option. In our case, Zoe sold a call option to Bill. Options are very useful tools in business and are indeed used to help execute all sorts of transactions and help reach all sorts of business goals. Here are a few examples. A. Sarah is a real estate entrepreneur. She meets Philip, the owner of some land close to the beach, who wants to sell his property. Sarah knows of some friends who would love to buy luxury apartments in this location, which is a high-demand zone and characterized by limited supply. Sarah approaches Philip and proposes a deal. The owner will award Sarah with the right, but not the obligation, to buy the land for $3 million anytime within a 24-month period. Within this time, Philip's property is off the market, and Sarah will have time to proceed. Sarah has high conviction in the project and pays Philip $50,000 for the option on the land. Sarah then prepares the plans and finds out she can build 30 condominiums. She approaches 10 friends and offers them to buy a condominium from her at $750,000. 8 agree to the transaction and are willing to commit half the proceeds up front to secure the property. Sarah has sufficient capital to secure the deal and now exercises the option to buy the land. In this case, Philip sold a call option to Sarah. B. Margaret owns a coffee shop chain. One day, a competitor approaches her with a proposal to purchase 50% of her business. Margaret is happy to accept the cash offer and negotiates a $2 million company valuation. For some reason, the buyer doesn't want to buy the whole company, and Margaret worries that differences in business approaches and management styles might pose a problem. Jeff, Margaret's friend, comes up with an idea. The buyer will purchase half the business for $1 million, but will also grant Margaret the right, but not the obligation, to sell her full remaining stake in the business for $1 million. Based on the existing valuation, times 50% remaining stake for a term of 5 years. If Margaret executes the option, the buyer must comply. The buyer awards Margaret the option, and the deal is executed. The competitor buys 50% from Moonbuck's coffee shop. Margaret is $1 million richer. The new partner demands to improve profitability and takes drastic measures such as firing 2 critical high-cost employees. Profits promptly plummet, resulting in an operational loss. Margaret is devastated, but Jeff reminds her of her option to sell the remaining stake in the company, so Margaret promptly exercises the option to sell. The partner finds to his dismay he can't back out from the deal and must shell out an additional $1 million to buy a now worthless, loss-generating business. Margaret had the option to sell her share at a price they agreed to before. This option's technical name is a put option. Think of the option recipient, Margaret in our case, putting the now worthless remaining shares in her partner's hands and taking the money from his pocket. Now Margaret can take her dream vacation and sip margaritas with Jeff.
Alright. So there's kind of a brief synopsis of how to of what options are. I know some of it can be a little confusing, but on the basic whole here, again, there's calls and puts. Again, calls is like hoping that a stock goes up. Put would be hoping that a stock goes down. It'll be worth more if the stock goes down. So you can buy on both sides. So meaning to say, again, you can make money either going up or going down when it comes to that. Are there any questions so far about that? I know that seems a little confusing, but feel free to ask questions if you're not sure, because I know it could be a little bit tough. Just kind of getting the basics down and stuff. Copying my trades, eh? I mean, you can if you want, but uh, you need some serious some extra dough to do that. What I always suggest to people though is anytime you're doing something new, you always should start small, and you can practice too. There are places out there that can give you practice accounts just to do options trading, so you don't have to even use real money if you don't want to. You can practice with fake money and be like, okay, let's see what happens if I try this, and then if it doesn't work out, there's nothing against you for it. It takes all the risk out. So it's just anything that you're comfortable with, because everybody's got their own comfort, their own strategies, and whatever. As long as you can ensure profit, well, do understand you don't always ensure profit on every trade. That's not necessarily true. Okay, that's you can't assume you're going to make profit on every trade. You have to be a little careful, of course, because every trade is there's always a risk. Now, how much of a risk you're planning to put down is dependent on what kind of stock that you get and what your trade is. But again, there's always a risk to every trade. So uh, do you want to profit? Well, one thing you could take to the bank here is that you don't necessarily have to profit a lot. You can do it little by little and then make a lot of money that way. So if you're expecting, oh, I'm gonna make like $1 bazillion in a day, to me, like the time that I made, $13,000 in a day, that was just pure luck. I'm just gonna say it's plain and simple. It was just pure luck. It was completely lucky. I can't even guarantee my own trades will guarantee a profit. That's not true either. I mean, you could copy me, that's fine if you got the money, but I mean, I don't want to. The one thing that I don't want to do is be in charge of your own money. That's something that you earned. That's something that you put your hard, your blood, sweat, and tears into. So I don't want to be in charge of that money. And if like I said, I want to give you advice and decide what you want to do with it, then that's a good, because then you'll decide to have an educated decision behind, what you want to do with your money. At the end of the day, I want you to be independent and be able to make your own choices with the things that you earned. That's very important. Being that individual is very important. You got to understand, Diego, like in all seriousness, you know your your independence, that kind of independent thinking is really what it should be about. If you decide to undertake the same thing that I'm doing, you know if you decide to undertake the same thing that I'm doing, then you do so at, of course, your own risk and your own educated decision. I don't want to tell you, be like, oh yeah, you should just get into it right away. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to jump into the frying pan and then lose money or whatever. That'd be bad. I want you to be as educated as possible before you feel comfortable enough to actually go ahead and do it, because I mean, it's your money, it's your time. Yeah. No, I know you know what I'm saying. It's just, I always put that disclaimer out because I don't want to be like some kind of, oh yeah, you're some kind of messiah because you got success in this and that and the other thing. No, a person that's going to tell you, good advice is going to tell you, yeah, take it simple, take it easy first, and then work your way up, very slowly. And then once you're comfortable with the idea and you start to seeing patterns and you start to see a little more success, then you start ramping it up a little bit. But it's not like it came overnight. Nothing is going to be, it's not like winning the lottery necessarily. I if I sat here and I said that, I'd be a liar. So um, I think a lot of times it just takes experience and time. And I'll be happy to, give you education and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's your money and it's your decision. And I would respect anything that you decide to do with it, because it is your life. It's your independence, and you should cherish that. No problem. If there's one other piece of advice that I could give everybody, probably the other piece of advice I could give everybody is don't post stupid stuff on social media. Just don't do that. That's not true. I don't think that's true. I think that you're saying that, Sono, only because of the fact that um, right now you just aren't educated about the subject in general. But it doesn't mean that you can't be. You obviously can be educated about the subject. Does it take time? Sure. I mean, it takes time. So it's not. I'm not expecting it to be like me right away. In fact, I don't prefer it that way. I prefer that you take you take your time. You take your time, learn about it. Don't even put any money in. Take a month, just learn about it. Watch videos, read articles. Get. It's fine being a freeloader, but you know what? That's the thing. Let me ask you a real question. This frustrated me when I was back in the day. It's like, did you ever feel frustrated that you were freeloading to some extent? You ever feel like you just didn't have control of anything? You know, like you really couldn't control. You wanted to do certain things for yourself, but you just couldn't, and you just feel like you're obligated to like everybody else around you. Yeah. Now, if you feel that way, that's where the biggest frustration lies. Honestly speaking, if you feel that way, that's the biggest source of frustration for most people. Is if once you feel obligated to someone, then you feel terrible because you're really not living for yourself. You're living for others, and it's fine to live for others. But if you're not taking care of yourself, if you can't even do what you want because everybody else is kind of getting in the way, in that regard, it's okay to be selfish every once in a while. Say, hey, I got to take care of me. I got to do me. And then I'll be, once I do me, I can do you. It's not like you're forgetting about them. It's just like I can't hold back what I want to do for the sake of just constantly helping others all the time. You got to be independent and then also be able to help. So that's entirely possible to do both. It's entirely possible to do both. I did. I didn't want to be indebted to my family forever. I had to be able to stand up on my own 2 feet, and I felt that was incredibly important. That was one of the things that I kind of pride myself on, is like, hey, there are times, maybe not being a drug kingpin is not the best idea. Maybe choose a little bit. Maybe choose a little bit of a better profession there. Listen, I got this CBD oil, okay, and I got these plants. They kind of look like certain types of leaves. They have a few points on them and everything. I don't know. They kind of grow in humid environments. Ultraviolet light, the whole 9 yards. Sell it at certain dispensaries in and around the area. Nah. Oh man. But if you want guidance on certain things, then yeah, I'll be more than happy to share knowledge with you. It's just that I always encourage people first delve into the research themselves first, and then see if they're willing to make that commitment. You know, so Because if there's one thing that you can't do, we down for Texas Roadhouse? Yeah, we totally down for Texas Roadhouse. Absolutely, 100%, bro. 100%. We down for Texas Roadhouse. Depends on when you guys want to go. It has to be on an off day though, like you know, because I work the whole week, so. There we go. You guys got any other questions? If you guys want to set up a day, on a day that you guys are not so busy, then yeah, I'm totally down. Whenever, honestly, fair enough. I'll figure out a day as long as you guys are okay with like maybe a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. That's why I ask. A weekend, okay, yeah. A weekend's probably more appropriate. So it's easier for most people. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll figure out a day and then we'll do it. We'll all meet up and then you can see me in person for the first time. So I don't mind doing that. The last week of class on the weekend? I mean, that's entirely possible, sure. Like I said, I'm willing to do it whenever. It's just a matter of, what works for you guys. You guys are, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is what I do, but it's pretty much I can do. Yeah, you may end different on 8 or 16 weeks. That's true. But doesn't mean that we still can't meet up regardless. So, you could still have access to these lectures regardless. So, yeah, even if this class is over for the 8 weeks, you still have access to the same Twitch streams I'll be putting out. Pretty much even after that. So, as long as you followed me here on Twitch, you could still get like saying, "Oh, he's, Chibs is online." I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I got no problem with that. Feel free to drop in and say and ask whatever. So nothing too hard. Easy peasy, everybody. Tell you what, I'll make up a date here for next class, and then I'll let you guys know. Okay. Okay. Anybody have any more questions for me? What would you like to know? You ask me whatever, Gustavo. All right, Diego. We'll see you Wednesday. All right. Take care of yourself. I mean, there's stuff to know about me, I guess. But I don't know. Depends what you want to know, Gustavo. Totally up to you, my dude. Oh, why Chibs? Oh, well, that's a fair question. Um, well, Chibs is short for something, actually, in all honesty. Um, Chibs stands for this. This is a name that I came up with in an MMO a long time ago, and it's stuck with me pretty much ever since. So my full name my full avatar name is Chibi Conveni. Um, so Chibi, as you know, means really small, and Conveni is Japanese for Conveni is Japanese for convenience store. So put it together, really small convenience store. Yeah. So some of my old guildmates, when I used to play an MMO, would just call me Chips for short. So I kind of went with that. Yes. That's right. That's exactly how you'd write it in hiragana. 4 years. I was in Japan for 4 years. All right. Um. So my first year, my first year, my first year was in a town called in Hokkaido called Asahikawa. That was my first year, and then the last 3 years I was in Tokyo. So at the end of my first year. Actually, I was at the end of the first year I was laid off from my job, and in probably the craziest way possible. And then the last 3 years I worked for another company in Tokyo, and then I came back after my visa run out. So then yeah, I decided to start teaching again because I hadn't I decided to start teaching math, which is what I got my degree in. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened there. Japan was a lot of fun, I have to say that. Super exciting, let me tell you. Huh, interesting. I still miss Tokyo quite a bit, though. I will say that. Tokyo was a lot of fun. All right. We will see you Wednesday. I guess I'll end it off here for today, everybody. Um, but I hope to see you all on Wednesday. All right. I hope everybody has a great evening. All right. Please take care of yourselves. All right. And we will see you all then. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Um, no, please ask me anytime. Okay, anytime. I'm here. I'm here to help you. All right, anytime. Techno, if you need Techno, if you have any more questions about converting mixed numbers there into improper fractions, just let me know. Okay. All right. Okay, everybody, take care of yourselves, and we will see you later. Have a great night. All right, everybody, take care. All right.